Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Race for Vets, and Mr. Frosty's here again. Hello, Mr. Frosty.
Howdy, howdy.
How's it going today?
Oh, pretty good.
Damn, that sounds good to me. I'm telling you, we just got to keep it up. Eat those pistachios, everybody.
Keep.
There we go. I think I cut you off too short. Sorry about that. Yeah.
you, you got to run a video?
Yep, I have a video here. I'm not too happy to show it, or I should say it's an audio more than video. Um, this is really serious stuff here. It's about the Ukraine war. We might be, hey, D John, how you doing there, young lady? I'll be doggone. D John's here.
Howdy, D. John.
Yeah, she's a good girl. She's very good. She's always followed me. But we have some bad news here. We might be going into, and I'm saying might. It looks like we might, but Third World War coming up. The Americans are not backing down. Russia's trying to get us to cool down a little bit, get on the tables, but the American people don't want to do it. And this is going
American
to,
people don't know anything about it.
well, yeah, well, I should say the government. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
I'm just
they're doing this, and nothing's coming out of the White House about it.
And nothing on television either. Nothing. You don't hear a word. Just all the elections and the immigrants coming. The most important thing right now is going to happen through World War, and they're implementing it. The American troops are on the ground of Ukraine, and so is NATO. So get ready, people. It's coming. And you already know the interest rates went up. We are in a heap of trouble. I don't know. All right, I'll start it out here. Okay, people, this is not one of my best days right here to do this, but I have no choice. Please listen and wake up. Like I've been trying to tell you, me and Frosty, for about over 2 years now, off and on. Please prepare yourself as much as you can, though, because you're going to be needing it. It's coming. Here we go. Remember, this is an audio. This is not a video. So hold on, please. Here we go.
Let's start with the war in Ukraine. Over the past few hours, Ukraine and NATO forces have unleashed hell on Donetsk. People's Republic using American weapons is confirmed on the ground. American forces are now confirmed, even though something we've been reporting here on the show for many, many months. According to the Washington Post, the Associated Press, and Pentagon officials saying the U.S. troops are monitoring NATO arms deliveries, which is interesting. It seems like things are getting much worse, even though we were hoping for peace talks. But it doesn't seem like we're going to get those anytime soon. For more on this, we'd like to bring in Colonel Douglas McGregor to help us cut through this fog of war. Colonel, you've been spot on in your assessments of what is about to unfold. And it seems over the past 24, 48 hours, things have gotten very bizarre. Can you help us cut through some of the disinformation that's floating around out there? What is the truth at this hour?
Well, admittedly, the fog is pretty thick, so we can all be forgiven for being a little confused from time to time as to what is true and what isn't. We know, for instance, that last night, perhaps as many as 100 missiles were fired by the Russian forces. At least 50 to 60 of them penetrated Ukrainian air defenses and wiped out another substantial portion of the Ukrainian power grid. In fact, today, a spokesman for Zelensky pointed out that unless there's serious attempts made to prepare for the winter and improve the situation in Western Ukraine, they may have to evacuate whole cities where there is no power. The country is literally operating in the dark. So this doesn't bode well for Ukraine. At the same time, almost completely unrelated to this reality of Ukraine's descent into chaos because there is no energy, you have this strange announcement that we're suddenly sending, after 8 months of no accountability, a few hundred soldiers under a brigadier general into Ukraine with the mission of somehow or another tracking all of the equipment that's being sent. Well, we already know that large quantities of the equipment are being sold off to others around the world, including ISIS. What is this really all about? I mean, we've been at this for 8 months. We've spent $65 billion, and now suddenly we're worried about accountability. This is beginning to look a little like an advance party for this very dangerous proposition that a multinational coalition of the willing, a force of perhaps 50, 60, 70, 80,000 Western troops will eventually go into Western Ukraine. This was floated, as you know, a couple of weeks ago by General Retired Petraeus.
Right.
And people at the time tended to dismiss it. I said, no, you've got to take this very seriously. He wouldn't say it unless others had urged him to do so. So I think this may have something to do with it. We don't know how many Americans, contractors in uniform and so forth, are already in the country anyway. But if this is what I think it is, there's also another rumor floating around inside the Beltway. It hasn't been officially announced, but I think it may be, that we're actually talking about standing up a Russian government in exile. Now, if you're interested in coming to some sort of arrangements with Moscow,
wow.
First of all, don't put together a multinational force to intervene, because the Russians have already said, if you do this, we'll destroy it effectively. So if we go in there, we're going to be at war with Russia. Perhaps the multinational force is designed to try and drag NATO as an alliance into this war that the Europeans, frankly, would otherwise not want to fight. And the second thing is, if your purpose is not regime change, as stated by President Biden, why would anyone even consider the idea of setting up a Russian government in exile? If any of this is supposed to promote peace, understanding, whatever you want to call it, let alone an agreement with Russia, I'd say none of it faster.
Well, you have President Putin over the past 24 hours as well coming out and saying, look, we had a framework in place in Istanbul, right? That all got thrown in the trash at the moment that the UK and the United States basically threw in and said, no, we're no peace talks. So there's really nothing on the table at this hour, even though we keep hearing from Moscow that they would like to have discussions and they're open to it. But time is running out. And so I want to dive a little deeper into this advanced party idea, because as you said on our show a few weeks ago, once the ground freezes and once Russia is able to move its tanks and start this massive military operation of 300, 400,000 troops, it's game over. So what is the United States preparing or NATO forces an advanced party? What exactly would that look like to you?
When we talk about an advanced party in the military, any unit, before it moves into a quote unquote assembly area, before it goes to an area where it might fight, it sends a small number of officers and soldiers and non-commissioned officers to examine the area and look for good places to establish positions, good places to set up assembly areas. For instance, I was part of the advanced party for the 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment back in 1990 before we deployed to Saudi Arabia. I went down 2 weeks early with others, and we went into the desert and scouted the area and looked for places where we could set up. Ultimately, we used them. It doesn't take very many people to do that. The other problem with this 200 or 300 man contingent under the 1-star is, why would they need a 1-star? In fact, why would they need anybody in uniform at all? Most of the time, inspectors are in civilian clothes because they're designed not to alarm and provoke either the host country or potential opponents. So it's perfectly logical to say that these people are looking for areas where they could set up, where they can establish power, where they can fuel themselves, where they can sustain themselves, live. And I don't know what else you could point to, because the notion that they are going to track in an area the size of Texas all of the equipment, at least 40% of which has been sold off and sent to other countries, is absurd. I don't see it happening.
So some of the reports we're hearing, and you can confirm this on your side as well, is that Kherson specifically, there's a mounting of forces in that area. More evacuation orders have been ordered on the Russian side. Where do you think this advanced party might find the most opportune place to set up? And ultimately, then what's the end game then? Is it the United States and NATO amass tens of thousands of forces in that area and move into the 4 annexed regions, the Donbass?
No, I don't think so. I think it's more likely that they'll stay west of the Dnieper River. And one of the points that's being made is that these forces, if they go in, will stay out of artillery range. The same thing is true for these inspectors, that they will not go forward where they might come under fire by Russian forces, that is, within artillery range. The problem with the notion of outside of artillery range is it excludes the tactical and theater ballistic missiles and cruise missiles, which the Russians have thousands of, carrying up to 1,000-pound conventional warheads, conventional explosives. These are pinpoint accurate in their destinations. So frankly, from the moment you step over the border from Poland into Ukraine, or over the border from Romania into Ukraine, you could be targeted. And we tend to forget that just as we have space-based and terrestrial intelligence gathering assets, in other words, satellites and unmanned systems, so do the Russians. The notion that you're going to fool anybody, sneak in over the night and set up somewhere in Western Ukraine with impunity is crazy. If we go into that country, we will come under fire. And frankly, if you're a Russian, you know this is quote unquote multinational, your first instinct is to destroy the US forces who are ultimately leading it, who are the core element of the force, as well as US command and control, which is effectively NATO command and control. NATO has no independent command and control, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, none of it. It's all dependent upon us. So this is an invitation to direct war with Russia.
It's unbelievable because as we sit here, we're not hearing anything out of Washington about this. There's really no discussion at all about it. All we keep hearing in Pentagon briefings is these are the new advanced systems that we are sending to Ukraine, Vampire anti-drone systems. You've talked about a number of different specialty heavy weapons that you were talking about a few weeks ago. Now we're hearing that those are being ramped up to being moved into Ukraine as well. So we're not hearing anything from Washington about this. And what happens, Colonel, once American soldiers start arriving in coffins at Dover Air Force Base?
Well, it depends on your perspective. I think the assumption is potentially inside this administration that if they go into Western Ukraine and our forces do come under fire and American lives are lost, that there will be, quote unquote, a rally round the flag effect inside the United States, and everyone will clamor for war with Russia. It's happened before. I mean, if we go back to Pearl Harbor, I mean, quite frankly, Pearl Harbor was something that everyone knew was inevitable as soon as the oil embargo was imposed on Japan. And the Japanese submitted 3 peace proposals, the last one in October of 1941 that met all of our demands, and we rejected all of it. So the Navy wanted to move the fleet out of Pearl Harbor, and FDR insisted that it stay there. Now, as a result, the United States, if you look at the polling data, which was overwhelmingly opposed to entrance into war in Europe, was then left with no choice, a fait accompli. But this is not Pearl Harbor. Western Ukraine is not Pearl Harbor. It is not part of the United States. It's not territory that we protect. It is not an extension of NATO. And so if we do this, I think they're making a mistake. I think a lot of people are going to be suspicious and say, well, wait a minute, what are we doing in Western Ukraine anyway? But I suspect they're betting that they might be able to get what they want, which is a direct military confrontation with Russia. We haven't even talked about the nuclear dimension.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that side of this.
Yeah, because my fear has always been that there is no danger of the Russians employing nuclear weapons. They don't need them. This is something nobody understands anymore. We haven't really needed nuclear weapons on any battlefield in any military confrontation for decades, because we all have precision microcircuitry that guides all of these missiles and artillery rounds and everything else to the target. The reason we had nuclear weapons on the battlefield for many, many years for potential use was to ensure that if we launched at a target, it would be destroyed, because we didn't have to hit it per se. We could hit near it, and that would cause so much damage that you'd achieve your aim. That's gone. Neither we nor the Russians really need nuclear weapons. But my concern has always been that if we go into Western Ukraine and we take heavy casualties, and the Russians decide, well, that's the end of it, no more nonsense, and just roll us up. In other words, really roll right into contact with us and roll up to the border with Poland or Romania, that people in Washington will say, well, we have to use a nuclear weapon, because if we don't, we will be seen as losing. Remember, every time that Stoltenberg has talked, he says, well, NATO cannot lose this war. If this war is lost and Ukraine does not prevail, that will be seen as a loss to NATO. Well, if you're going to take that position, then the nuclear option does loom in the background. Hopefully, there are people with common sense in Washington and understand that is not an option, because the use of any nuclear weapon, if we say, well, this is a small nuclear weapon, that's okay to use. It's only 5 kilotons,
right,
which is maybe half the damage of Hiroshima. That's okay to use that. We're insane, because the Russian will look at this and say, oh, they're using nuclear weapons, launch a first strike. No more nonsense. And suddenly we're staring into the abyss of nuclear winter and catastrophe.
What does a confrontation with Russia look like at this moment, and whether or not NATO forces are involved or not? We hear, I'm curious your assessment now of the 300,000 and these, arguably a few weeks away, maybe a few days away from ground freezing and this mobilization unfolding. And
I think that based upon the weather that I'm hearing from Ukraine, it may be another 2, 3, 4 weeks before it freezes thoroughly. So there may be a space there, and that's what worries me about this multinational force, that they may see this as an opportunity before the Russian offensives begin.
And we're hearing reports of a lot of mercenaries now on the battlefield on the Ukrainian side. Is that indicative of the fact that the Ukrainian army is all but destroyed?
Yeah, their manpower is almost exhausted. What's interesting to me is to hear people in NATO say, well, the Ukrainians have limitless manpower, as though every human being who is a man, and potentially even women, can somehow or another be dragooned into fighting. They've already got problems with desertion. They've got problems with people that refuse to fight. They've had units up and down the line in front of Kherson and all the way up to the Russian border saying, we're not going to attack anymore, because to attack these Russian defenses is suicidal. And indeed, they're correct, it is. So now you turn to mercenaries. We have a lot of Polish troops in Russia or Ukrainian uniform. We have some Romanians apparently now joining this. I think the latest count on ISIS fighters hired by the United States government to fight for Ukraine is about 70, maybe 80 by now. This is something that is beyond our imagination. By the way, when people talk about the Russians, they don't understand something. Every Tsarist Russian army, and in fact the Soviet army, had large numbers of non-Slavs and non-Europeans in it, always. Large portions of historic Russian cavalry consisted of Mongolian, Tartar, Turkic troops. This is nothing new, and the Chechens have fought with the Russians as well as against them on many, many occasions. This is not new either. So it's a little different when you start talking about Ukrainians. This is a very different thing for Ukraine. Ukrainians historically have not imported anybody to fight for them, but of course they've taken serious losses.
When this mobilization happens in a few weeks, what do you anticipate will happen from the Russian side on the mobilization? I mean, I'm asking you.
The mobilization is already underway. But I mean, it's close to being over. In other words, the first 300,000 are largely showing up now in the support formations and in some of the combat formations that need to reach 100%, preferably 105 or 110% strength before you go into action. But the mobilization itself in Russia, I'm told, is not really being terminated. It quietly continues. And that's why I've told people that potentially by January, end of January, you could have as many as 1 million Russian troops in the field. Now, numbers do matter. They're not always decisive. But the other point is this business about equipment. The equipment that we're seeing show up right now is better than any of the equipment they've used to this point. In addition to that, they have inexhaustible quantities of equipment and of ammunition. I mean, pause and remember for a second, how many times did the Institute for the Study of War and all the other violently anti-Russian, pro-globalist, pro-neocon organizations tell us, oh, the Russians are running out of ammunition. The Russians are running out of missiles. The Russians can't do this much longer. It's always been wrong. Russia is prepared, and Russia can fight as long as it needs to sustain itself. Europe, on the other hand, is very different. They don't have the fuel, they don't have the power, the electricity. Just look at the diesel issue that you brought up the other day.
Right.
The diesel problem over there is acute, not in Russia, but in Ukraine and in Europe. So you start pushing forces into Western Ukraine. How long can you keep them moving? How do you ensure that they can be supplied and provided with transportation? More important, how do you replace your losses? And the Russians have taken some losses. They're all replaced. But Ukrainian losses that are much higher, over 100,000 dead and perhaps 400,000 wounded, they've had a lot of trouble replacing them. And they're replacing them with reservists and what we would call National Guardsmen with very little military experience and background. But the Russians can do this. We cannot. So these are very important factors that should be considered. But in the White House, I think it's fantasy island. People are developing strategies and ideas in isolation from broader realities. Most important, once again, they're not listening to Putin. They're not listening to the Russians. You can't just go on ignoring what people tell you. They're serious. Take them seriously. And don't assume that because we're Americans and we cross into Ukraine, no one will shoot at us. That's absurd.
I'll get you out of here on this question, which is the midterm elections. Of course, in the United States happens next week. A lot shifts after these elections. We see major shifts in strategy and policy. We see the firing of people. Donald Rumsfeld, just one example. So, what do you think will happen post midterms with this, with U.S. support for Ukraine?
Well, first of all, I'm one of those people who's very skeptical that we will see profound change after the midterms. I hope you're right. But I haven't seen much to give me faith in these so-called Republicans. I mean, once you get past Chip Roy in the House and past Rand Paul in the Senate, how many stalwarts do you have out there that will carry the fight forward?
Right.
Lots of things are being promised. We'll see how much is delivered. Now, having said that, the Democrats are clearly worried about losing control of Congress. And this is something that I've been concerned about, that there may be an incentive for the Democrats in their overwrought imaginations to launch this disastrous incursion into Western Ukraine before the elections, on the assumption that once we're in there, even if we do take casualties, and I think we would, and we lose people, the outcome is, well, we're stuck now. So you have to support us. It's the old adage, when we got into there, even though we realize now it was probably a mistake, we have to fight this thing.
Right. Right. Don't vote for John Kerry. Vote for me. We're George W. Bush. We're the ones that got us into it. So you got to see us out of this mess. That's what I'm worried about, too. And we only have a few days left to find out what's going to happen there. Colonel, we really appreciate you joining us. Your insights are fantastic. Well, let's start with the war.
Well, there it is, people. You're watching the television, and they're talking about is immigrants coming in and the mid-elections, and they're not saying anything about the Ukraine war, what's going on. We have troops now in Ukraine.
That's not good.
So you know something's in the wind, very much in the wind.
It boggles my mind. Why in the hell would we ever get involved in another war?
This is done purposely. You know this. I mean, it's just not just happening in the United States. It's happening all over the world. It's our G leaders that all get together and congregate in a secret room that we have no transparency on and just figure out how to get rid of us and how to control us. That's all this is. And they don't care how they do it because they themselves will not get hurt. They won't. They won't be touched. They sit on their rumps and figuring things how to get rid of us, how to starve us, how to freeze us to death. Talking about the immigrants, which are allowing to come in by the thousands. And the caravans are coming in now. And he's right about one thing. These Republicans ain't going to do very much for us. I don't care what you say. I mean, they'll slow it down like Frosty said. But they're not going to do nothing either. They're all cahoots with the other. They fight with each other, but yet the next day they'll eat at the dinner table at their opponent and just laugh about us. tried to warn you about this for I don't know how long now, and now you're going to see the results. It's going to come up now. I hope you people are ready out there. I really do. Because once they start this war, that's it. I mean, there's no. Oh, there he is. He finally showed up. There he is. Hold on there, UK. I'm waiting for you. You're right. He showed up. Yep.
I told you.
Yep. You're right. I'm in trouble now. Son of a gun. Don't hit me.
You have to listen to me, or it's frying pans for you, buddy.
Damn, I was hoping for pistachios. Here you go, UK. Come on up. I told him he could have the show because he's got a lot to talk about. So,
All right.
okay, there's your link there. God bless. He'll tell you a lot. He's from UK. He knows a lot more what goes on over there than what we do over here because he gets a lot more news. This guy's very knowledgeable, UK. God bless. If he shows up. Hold on, everybody. 12B, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, bravo.
Excuse me. Oh, here we go. Well,
good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world right now.
Yeah. Good evening, UK.
You too, UK. Good evening to you. Well, we're going to leave the show to you. It's all yours now.
You know, do you know what? I did come up early on because I was catching up on a few other things and that, and it's just taken me. It's taken me a little while to digest what's going on, and I'm a bit overwhelmed.
Because there's so much of it.
It's escalating at a fucking rate of knots. Absolutely. I hope you got your fatigues, guys, because you're going to need them. It's something really dirty and nasty about to take place soon. I'm going to put it there. I'm going to put my thoughts and views on what's about to take place. I think we're about to hit a shit show like you would not believe. Sorry, I know it's depressing, but what's going on? Boots on the ground in Ukraine, USA.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how YouTube, all the videos where Biden a few months ago was visiting the troops in the Polish border, the American troops, sat there eating pizza, telling them how they're going to be coming into the Ukraine soon. Now they've deleted the videos and try to say no. What Biden actually said was, you'll be able to. The American troops will be able to watch it on YouTube. Twisted round. Wow, there's something. Good evening, D. Johns. Look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not sat here with a colander on my head, but mate, I'm telling you that something is about to kick off big time. And who can blame Putin? It's nothing to do with us. All this stuff that's going over here with Zelensky. That's having a sniff. Little cokehead that he is. It's fucking wrong. This is wrong. This has been in the planning since 2014 and before.
They didn't just come up with this. There's no event that took place that justifies us putting boots on the ground there.
Absolutely none at all. I mean, look, guys, I don't know about you guys, but have you ever played chess? When you move that pawn on the first go, do you just think, I'll move that pawn and see what happens? No, you're thinking 10, 15, 20 moves ahead. You telling me these governments do not know what they're doing and what the consequences are going to be coming back on them?
Not them, us.
Exactly.
It's not going to affect them at all. It's going to affect us, American people, and people around the globe. We're going to starve.
Everybody, not just Americans. Yeah, English, French, German, everyone. It's affecting all of us, and we're just little people on the ground. You know, I don't know. Much as I love you all, guys, we're just little people. We are the little people. We're the ones that are going to suffer, not them. You got a nuclear bunker? No, Neither have I.
How can you fight a war when you have no energy, no oil, no reserves, nothing?
Look at in the USA. Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but some of your reserves have got down to 25% for diesel and fuel.
We're running out of it.
You're fucked as well as we are.
16 days we're running out of diesel. That's it. 16 days, they said.
Well, I've seen some information that would change my mind on that a little bit.
I hope you're
Go on,
right.
enlighten us.
Well, they've been doing studies. Typically, there are times that are busier than others. And if you look at the chart on diesel fuel, it goes up seasonally and comes down seasonally. And one of the reasons that they're not stockpiling it now is because of the price, because they can sell it at a high price now, so they're not going to stock it until the price comes down, which it normally does. And somehow it kind of got out of whack, and that just ran us shorter than what it would normally do, and there's no incentive for them to buy it at the price that it is. That's the way they're looking at it.
I'll tell you something, Frosty, me old mucker. Right, do you think this has nothing to do with Biden going over, trying to Jack Russell the leg of the Saudis, asking for an extra 200,000 barrels a day, and they basically turned around, give them the bird, said fuck you, and they're doing less than 200 barrels a day now, 200,000 barrels a day. Nothing to do with that. Biden's fucked it. Biden has fucked it.
Yeah, well, see, they don't have short memories. When he was running for office, he basically told them that he was going to be opposed to Saudi Arabia and try and bully them and disparage them. And so when he went with his little fist bump, it didn't work out. It didn't work out for him. Well, why would it? He's been in bed with the enemy of Saudi Arabia. He's been in bed with Iran.
China.
Yeah.
Iran. Right, so do you know what's happening there with Iran? With the fuel?
Well, it's sky high from what I hear.
No, Iran.
Mate, they got plenty of oil.
Right, so the two cheapest places in the world right now to buy fuel. Number one, hang on a second, let me give you a link. Because I only say stuff that I can verify.
That's good.
That's good. Show you. Hang on a minute. Where is it? I've got so many tabs open. I'll find it in a second. Right. So I'll give you a link once before, but I'll do it again in a minute. Right. So the two cheapest places in the world to buy fuel. Number one is Iran. Number two, Venezuela. Oh, with sanctions on. What happened with America? Oh, we're little sanctions if you give us cheap fuel. And they got the bird. Iran is less than half a cent. You know what a cent is, don't you? Like half a cent for a gallon, not a litre, a gallon of diesel. A gallon of diesel. And Iran have now just done a deal. They're just in the process of doing a deal because they're supplying drones to Russia. They're doing a deal that they're going to buy the fuel from Russia and then sell it back to us at a marketed high price. And the thing is, right, in Europe, the reason why they're suffering with the lights going out and they've got no fuel and everything, and it's not going to affect to us in the UK because we're donating to them to keep them going. It's because of sanctions. Sanctions on who imposed those sanctions not to buy the fuel? The West, NATO, England, USA. So, I don't know if I don't know if I'm explaining myself. I'm just jumping ahead of my gun, and I'm just so overwhelmed that people aren't seeing what's going on. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let me just try and find this. I've got so many papers open.
If it isn't on the news, it's not factual. You know what I mean? It's got to be on the news for everybody to believe. And this is what throws the oh, man, I'm just...
I found it. Here we go. Right, I'm going to give you the link. I've given you this link once before, guys, but I'll give it again. Let me just go to the main.
Bobby Crush says he thought that. Bobby Crush says I thought fuel was free in Venezuela.
No, it's not fuel. It's not free. Hang on a second. Right, so give me a link there, and then if I click back on the link myself. Just do a refresh because I'm right. So a liter. Let's go to a US gallon. Let's go to US gallon. US dollar. All right, we'll go US dollar. It is. Oh my God! I'm sorry. I haven't refreshed the page. Number one in the charts is Venezuela at 0.60, 0.60. So it's just over half a cent for a gallon. Okay, and then you got number two is Libya. Blimey. Iran. Oh my God. Is 20 cents a gallon of diesel. So there we go. That's current prices. These third world countries that are being invaded. Look, just oh God, it's such a big picture.
There it is. I got it up there right now.
Yeah, let me go over. See that? I'm not joking. Now this website, right, it's very good. It's independent. It's not controlled by the Russians or NATO or the West or any other communist or anything like that. And it also, right, if you look at his website, you can see what the current prices of wheat and sugar and electrical devices are around the world. And you can see what's going on. You can get a bigger picture. Yeah, you like that, don't you? Now, if you go back to the top of it, right, so you'll see that you can do by the currency, the gallon. Yeah. See, look, go back up a bit more. You'll go by the litre. So you can go by, you can click on it on the side, and you can go by the gallon. I think you're gallons, aren't you, in the US? Yeah. You don't go by litre. So if you go by gallon, US gallon, which is slightly different to the UK.
Oops,
not much.
Hold on, there we go. US gallons. There it is. Venezuela.
0.60. Wow. Just over a cent. Just over half a cent. Half a cent for a gallon. And like I said before, the only thing the Venezuelans, because I was supposed to be there right now, but my wife's, I wouldn't say my wife, but my passport's gone missing. Anyway, so going back to this, the only thing that the Venezuelans have got pissed off with is the price of, I shit you not, is McDonald's. Now, if they go to the McDonald's, it's like a treat. It's like your daughter's 21st, or you and your wife's anniversary, your 60th anniversary. That's the only problems they've got in Venezuela right now is the price of McDonald's.
If people want to take a snapshot on this, I would advise you to, or just go back and redo my stream and take snapshots on this.
Just go. I mean, like I said, guys, in the chat and everyone, it's not just fuel prices. It's all the other things you can find out on this website. It's a really good website. How much grain is costing, how much flour, how much butter, how much electricity. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. If I want to be a refugee, I think I'd be a refugee in Russia right now, because they're looking after their people, and Russians are not going cold this winter. It is so cheap. I follow a guy, just a normal guy, he's younger than me, and he's got a nice wife, and they got a little baby. And back earlier on in the day, in the year, Russia gets like -40. Fuck me, their winters are cold. And he showed us live, he had one of these smart meters, and he he's got a 3-bedroom house, and they got a little baby, and they're walking around in t-shirts and shorts in the house where it's minus 40 out there. So this house is pretty toasty. It's nice and warm, and it worked out to keep his house warm like that for the whole month, for 1 month, was 15 euros, which is about £12, which is about $12, $13 for the whole month to keep yourself nice and warm, and it's minus 40 outside. What does that tell you? Look at the Nord Stream. Look at the Nord Stream, the gas pipe that got blown up mysteriously. Biden even said a little while ago that if Germany continues to use Russian fuel, there will be consequences. It's a bit bizarre, isn't it?
It's a power struggle, is what it is. They want a new world order, is what they want. Exactly what they want.
I know. And so there we go. I mean, look at Iraq and that. Where was the weapons of mass destruction? Every time the Democrats get in, there is always war. Where was the war with Trump? Love him or hate him, but there was no war. Do you think this would be going on now? Do you think this would have escalated right now if Trump was in power? I don't think so. And I'm in the United Kingdom. You know, he's not my prime minister or president. I wish he was, though. The guy's rich. He's uncorruptible.
They're all rich that run this country. They're all rich. Like I said, they're not going to hurt it. They don't care about us, anybody. They care about themselves and their power, their control, the electronics, the technology. They're all using it against us, but they're not going to be touched by it. We're going to starve. We're going to freeze to death. We're not going to have a job. We're not going to have anything. They're going to come on in and take our homes because we can't pay taxes. It's all by design. They're doing it purposely. I can see what's going on. It's easy as 1, 2, 3.
See, look, for me tomorrow, I mean, it's what is it? It's 11:45 at night for me in the United Kingdom. Tomorrow, I'm calling in my debts. People owe me some money for this and that. I'm calling it in tomorrow because I'm gonna go to the gas station. I'm filling up a sports car I got. It's petrol that I don't use, but I'm gonna fill it up. That's gonna be about 120, 100. No, in dollars, about $150. I don't drive it, but the reason why I'm filling it up is because I've got a petrol generator. And I'm just worried about what's going to happen soon. And then my cars as well. I'm going to fill those up with diesel. And I've got a few containers that I've got around. I'm going to fill those up as well. Because I just think shit is about to hit the fan. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But my heart is saying to me, you know, my head, my brain is saying, yes, you've got to protect your family. Go and do it now. You know it's going to come. Look what you've read. Look what you see. And my heart is saying, no, you don't want it to be like that. You know, everything's going to be okay. You know, the fairies going to be okay. There's unicorns. But I'm telling you what, I've just got this feeling. I hate to say this, but I put my reputation on the line. You know, I just think something's going to, like I've been storing food and everything. I just think something's going to be. Boots on the ground in Ukraine is really antagonizing Russia. And it's nothing to do with us. You know, like I said to you before, the Ukraine are fucking Nazis. There's no dispute about it. Look on YouTube. Go back to any news before, you know, like beginning of this year, and then see how the other places like CBS, ABC, the BBC reported on Ukraine, how they're so Nazi controlled, you know, neo-Nazis and other corruption. And then it does suddenly change, you know, once Russia go in. There's no war at the moment. Like to be in war, what do you have to be in war? You have to declare war. There's no war being declared. Russia went in on humanitarian causes. That's why it's called a special operation.
Well,
you know, go on, sorry.
Hold on. This is how concerned our government is. And Trump was right. Biden's speech was about January 6th and white supremacy. Then Bobby Crush puts on, whoever is to blame, we have to admit that the whole world has now turned against the American empire. Oh, I'm sorry, has now turned against the American empire.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's true. I mean, everybody's coming after us because we don't mind our own freaking business. And again, they're doing this purposely.
Look, as I said to you before in previous streams, we are cousins, we're family, right? No matter what, we're family. And the thing is, right, what's happening is, right, things are changing. Not between us, between our governments. We've got the World Economic Forum. Look at in America, in England like that right now. You know, I have to say it as it is. I'll say it as it is, right? So we've got an Indian who is now controlling our government. Now, this guy, Richie Sunak, was our treasurer who controls the expenditure of our country, and he fucked us. He gave away so much money during the COVID lockdown. Now we're fucked, and you're letting some guy who fucked us up run our country.
You gotta say Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
Already got mine.
Do you know what? I think that's changed now.
No, I already got it. I already got it nailed. Yeah, I got nailed.
No, still.
Yeah, I did. Yep. Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, one person said that, and I got nailed 3 days later. They nailed it.
Well, I apologise. I don't know if you need to restart the stream. I hope It's just that in England now we don't. Well, the United Kingdom and other countries and Canada. That's not when it first came out. The Kool-Aid. You know, you were scared to say anything against it. But now that's all changed. People are woken up, and so like people like, you know, Elon Musk that has bought out Twitter. Free speech is back. Trump is welcome back. You know, God bless America in some respects. I do like Elon Musk. I don't know what other people's views are, but at least that guy's into free speech. And so, like I was saying, lost the thread for a second there. This guy, this Richie Sunak, he's a backstabbing, snaky little bastard. It seems, I have to say it as it is. When you let people that haven't got the same values as your country, being brought up with your same values, they fuck up the country. They seem to get in. And so people were saying before he got voted in as a prime minister, not by the British people, by the people in our Conservative Party. Yeah, but he was born in England. He went to England schools, but he was first generation. You're right. So it's like this. You're American and you move to somewhere like Philippines. You're going to tell me you're going to bring your children up that are born in the Philippines with Philippine values? No. You're going to bring them up as an American with what your parents taught you, what your forefathers taught you. Same thing with this guy we got running our country now. He has not got British values. He does not put the British people at heart. They're already talking about even more people from India coming into this country. Honestly, it's just everything is broken in our country right now. Our health service, dentists, doctors, food. Not only food banks are we going to have now, where you go there because you haven't got no food. We're getting a thing called heat banks. I don't know if you get that over there. It's where people that can't afford to keep warm and die in the winter can go to a community place and keep warm for a few hours. How fucked up is that?
Hold on here. I have a gentleman here, Bobby Crush, says, isn't the American aircraft carriers arriving to dock in England this week?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, they're going over to the near the Black Sea, over the Polish, and they're on the way. But they're old ships. But you've got a lot of American aircraft carriers and ships coming over there now.
See, we don't hear a thing over here. All we're hearing right now is just the election, teachers' unions, woke stuff, immigrants. That's all we're hearing down here. Frosty, you can talk too, you know.
Well, I knew I knew you guys were screwed over there as soon as I looked into that prime minister's background and saw he came out of Goldman Sachs before he got in politics. I knew right then you were screwed because those people are ruthless. I mean, they're lining their own pockets and they don't give a damn about anybody else. And then he talked about how he would raise taxes up to 50% if he had to. I thought to myself, well, who in the hell wants to work and give 50% of your efforts away? That's crazy.
I
Excuse
have
me.
to. I have to
Hold
say
on.
about Bobby
Excuse
Crush.
me.
Hang on 1 second. I hate the term UK. But do you know what
Yeah,
the UK stands for? United Kingdom. It's not horrid. It's a good thing.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, I'd like. Whoa, did I say something wrong here? UK or
No,
you know?
UK stands for United Kingdom. That's Welsh, Irish, Scottish, and England. And I say to people, wise up, wise up. Welsh, Irish, Scottish, English, unite people. That's what I say. United Kingdom. We need each other more than ever before since the Second World War.
What we need is to put our foot right on their asses, our leaders, because they ain't doing nothing for us. That's what we need to do. We need to stand up as Americans in UK or whatever you said there, EU, whatever. But it's just we need to stand up. Tell these son of a guns to knock it off. I mean, I'd rather
Oh,
be free than be in tyranny and be subject to, I don't know. Just hold on. Just go on.
I mean, look what Bobby Crush is saying there. This is worth 2 months in England, I can remember. The Queen passed away. There was a WEF political coup. I absolutely agree with Bobby because when the Queen died, right, I don't know. Look, for me as an English guy, I'm 56 years of age. Every Christmas at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the Queen would be in my living room. We'd watch her speech, and on the television, and she was one of the last good bits of what we had left in this country. We could hold our heads up high. The only good thing about the royal family was her. You got Prince Andrew, a little bit of a pedo. Prince Charles, he should have advocated and passed on to William because he's into all this eco, climate, all that bollocks. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. And look what happened with Diana. That's another story. But she wasn't golden herself, but even so, what happened to her was disgusting. And so our country is just going one thing down from another. And we've got all this thing going on at the moment. Get down, Daisy. We've got all this. Get out there. We've got all this thing going on at the moment. It's like my daughter's coming here trying to steal from me, like a ninja seagull. Whenever I'm on the screen, my kids rob me. You know what it's like, right? Anyway, so there's so much stuff going on at the moment. I'm just, like Bobby's saying, we just got so much shit going on at the moment. It's just, it's like a black hole. We're getting sucked into it. Like he says there, Bobby, or she, when the Queen died, I felt that was the end of England. It was. It really was. That was like the final nail in the coffin. It's just we got this thing going on with the. Here's another thing. We got this thing going on with you got it down in South America, like you got all the refugees coming in, millions, whatever it is, a month. We got that over 1,000 plus a day coming into England. Now that they've run out of 4 5-star luxury hotels, and they're asking the public that they want. Would you rent your home to these refugees that are illegally coming here? Illegally, they're gimmigrants. They're not immigrants. They're called gimmigrants. I call them. And so what's happening is right. So here's the next scenario. Mark my words. When we had the Kool-Aid, a lot of people lost their jobs. Guys like me and you, younger families, and we lost our jobs for no fault of our own from a badly managed lockdown. Businesses went bankrupt. Self-employed people had the piss taken out of them. No money for them. And so they've lost their mortgage. They've lost their house. They're now renting privately of people that have got a nice house. Now what they're saying is this. I've noticed over the past 2 months, and I've been telling people about this, the cost of private renting is skyrocketing. Where you got normally a house that will go for $1,000 a month, are going for $1,800 to $2,000 a month now. And the reason this is being is because, I went to school with Bojo, Boris Johnson. I went to school with him when I was a kid. That's another story. What's happening is now the government have just announced that they've run out of spaces to house all these illegal immigrant bastards. And they're saying to the market, if you rent us your house, we will guarantee payment for 5 years. If your house is a little bit run down, we will pay for it to be restored. If at the end of 5 years, the house is damaged by these illegal immigrants, we will pay for that to be refurbished. What chance? Now, even if they're also saying is that even if over that 5 years, those immigrants are only in your house for 6 months, we will give you your full rent for the next 5 years. What chance do the average British working person have of competing with that? There's going to be a lot of homeless indigenous people coming up. Mark my words.
Well, I wouldn't trust the government anyway. They tell you one thing, they'll turn around and say, no, we ain't going to do it. You know, I don't trust them. I don't trust the government at all. They lie like a son of a gun. They're killers. They're murderers. They don't care.
There's something very wrong with this as well. Because, right, here we go. Right. You've got battalions of young, fighting Muslim males, majority of them are Muslim, coming into our country every day. I mean, 1,000 a day plus that we know of. There's other ways they're coming in, like fake visas, fake marriages, and then you've got other things that where they're coming on the beaches and they're running off into the towns. These guys, right? Well, it's all men. 99% of them are men. What do men like to do, young males, after a couple of months? What do they gag for?
Chase
Do you
women.
understand? Exactly. And the thing is, right, we're getting a year and a half ago, it was a 37% increase from the year before of rapes, murders, and robberies. The crime rate in this country is absolutely escalating. They're reducing the police, the public funding for police, like in Philadelphia and places like that. This place is becoming Armageddon. I swear to God, it sounds like I'm being over dramatic. I work in security and I see what's really going on. A lot of people in this country are living in their own bubbles. They're watching the mainstream media, like the BBC, and they're not understanding what's really going on. What is about to explode in this country? It's happening, but people they come home from work. They're tired. They want to see the kids, give the kids a good night before they go to bed, and eat their food. And while they're eating their food, they're watching mainstream media news, and they have no idea what's really happening.
Well, everything that you said so far is happening over here in the United States. Exactly. Isn't that right, Frosty?
Yep. Yep. We got the same issues.
I mean, if it works for you guys in England to tear your families up, they're going to do it over here in the United States. They're all talking together, these G Summit people, you know?
I mean, we're being told in England that we can't get rid of them. We have to go and pick them up. Look, when these fuckers come from war-torn France, you're supposed to stop in a safe first country. They go through several countries and they get to Calais in France, and then they travel across this little bit of water, and the French military escort them and then meet our border control and escort them as a taxi to our country. When they reach our country, they're immediately given a credit card with £170, which is about $180, to spend on themselves each week, while they're being kept in a really luxurious hotel with 3 or 4 or 5 meals a day, heating, a warm bed. They're given £500 clothing allowance because, bizarrely, in their nice sneakers, and they got iPhone 14s rather, that cost over, in your currency, about $1,400, $1,500. These guys got nice, crisp haircuts. there's something very, very wrong going on with this country at the
Yeah,
moment.
there's something very wrong. They're doing it purposely. They don't want England anymore. They want you guys to suffer like they do over here in the United States. They want us to suffer. They want us to starve.
They
They
want
want
to
us to
destroy
beg.
you. They want to destroy the status quo. They want to destroy the country and remake it. They want to
Right.
transition everything. They're not just transitioning to a different kind of energy. They want to transition to a different kind of people.
So
And that's why
listen, what makes me perplexed is that
especially
like
on the
these
conservative
people that are
side,
letting this happen have had the same kind of education as us, that have their forefathers that have paid the taxes and worked hard to bring up a good country for their their children and their grandchildren. But these people are sold out. So what? Look, I know it sounds a bit bizarre. So Satanists, because it's
They are.
evil what's
That's
happening.
right. They are. They're
It's
Satanists.
evil. It's an evil
Right.
thing.
You got to see their parties. I did a video on a party where they're at there, showing them with costumes and had devil worshiping things. People bowing down to this one guy, and oh my God, yeah, they're Satanists, all right.
Because it is evil, isn't it? I mean, even an atheist right now would be thinking, well, what else can it be? I mean, you're letting this happen, this spread of like locusts. Locusts. That's what they are. They're going across the countries, our lands, and just destroying everything that we built up.
well, we ain't built anything up. We've shipped all our money and industry out of the country, and another war. I mean, we've been in war my entire lifetime.
Yeah, nothing but war constantly with us ever since I was born. Nothing but war. Like you said, it's a chess game. Get power here, get power there. And then United Nations, forget about it. And NATO,
Johns.
they ain't worth a damn.
Well, they're trying to figure a way to go into Haiti.
I'll see you there, D. John. Nice talking to you, the young lady.
Thank you very much for coming up.
Yeah, thank you. She's a wonderful lady.
Spread the word. Oh.
Go on,
Oh man,
Frosty, I'm sorry.
I don't know why I am right now in life. I'm so in limbo. I wouldn't say in despair. I would rather die standing than kneeling. But it's hard trying to educate people, isn't it? It just.
Right now, I only got 3 people watching me. They don't care. They don't care, but they're going to be the first ones to complain when something happens. They can't do this to us. And it's going to be chaos, killings, murder, rapes, and the government's going to step in and says, all right, martial law for everybody. That's it. Everybody in the house. That's it. And you don't peek your nose out of that damn door. This is all they want.
It's only going to get worse. It cannot get better. How can we recover from all this? I cannot see, like in England, right? All these people that have illegally entered the country, out of all these refugee status when they apply for asylum, there's only 4% has been carried out so far. The ones where they're supposed to be shipped out, here we go. We got this thing in England at the moment. Here's another thing. People don't know the truth. We had a thing called where they were going to be processed. If they come to this country illegally, they could be taken to Rwanda. This country called Rwanda. The government has spent untold millions acquiring these all-inclusive hotels with alcohol and food, like when you go on holiday yourselves. And they were supposed to be processed over there. They spent all these millions of pounds on these flights. Only one person was on the flight, and even then, at the end of the day, they were taken off because of their human rights. They said that they were gay, a guy, and he'd be persecuted. It was just all bullshit, basically. Anyway,
Yeah.
what people don't realise is, for every 50 or 100 people we sent over to Rwanda to these all expensive paid hotels that we've paid for, for every one. So if we have spent 50 or we spent 100, we get 100 or 50 of their Ugandan, Rwandan people that have got disabilities that need urgent medical care to come back into our country. So we were swapping people with severe disabilities or people that needed medical help. Another burden on our system.
Well,
See, that's what we've spoken about.
our system here, they're allowing people to come on in, and what they're doing is these countries are allowing these people that are in jail to come on up here, murderers.
Yeah, they're emptying their jails out down there, so they don't have to pay to keep them in jail. They can just send them up here and let them rape, rob, and murder, and they're getting it done.
We're on a tipping point. We've been on a tipping point for quite a while, but I'm just thinking that just recently, you know, it's that last straw on the camel's back. It's got. I think we're really on the verge of I hope so anyway, of a verge of a revolt.
Well, we're extremely weak in the military. There's a lot of positions that are empty, and they can't recruit. They can't meet their recruiting goals, and they can't fill those positions. And so they're going to end up drafting. And they're going to draft these people that have come out of high school, and they're woke. They got the woke education. Trying to put them into the military and draft them, that's going to be a circus.
That's it. See, like you just said, the woke education. Schools these days now, you know, they're teaching like 4-year-old kids. You know, it's okay if you're a boy or a girl. We give you the beta blockers. We do all this, do all that. You got all these like drag. No, look, each to their own. I'm not homophobic or anything like that. I like homosexuals. I think they're great. The reason being is because more girls for us.
Makes sense.
That's my, you know, but it's the way they're just making kids so fucking confused, you know, and the brainwashing. Look at TV. I don't know what it's like for you. I'm not being horrible and nasty or anything, but you know, like we get the TV commercials for Christmas, or even when I watch the television, I feel like I'm in Nigeria. You know, I can't watch normal TV in England now because I'm going to smash this. I'm going to smash up the telly. It's causing positive discrimination.
Well, you have Channel 4 there, right?
All of them.
Well, okay. Well, Channel 4 was showed a transgender at a concert, and he ripped his clothes off.
Oh yeah, played the piano with his penis.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, I had it out there, and they took it down.
At a time when they were doing. We got a thing called a watershed. You can't play anything after 9 a.m. in the evening with swearing or anything sexual. This is at a time where you're sat there with your kids. You know, it's what the fuck.
Well,
listen, 2 seconds. I just need to have a piss. Carry on talking. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay, you know what's bad about it, people out here, is that you get this woman organizations. They don't do shit. Donate to them. That's right. Waste your money. Find out where that money's going to before I donate to anybody anymore. I'm done with it. I'm not donating. I'm not buying books. You see these people on TV. Well, I got a book out here. Oh, it's #1. Buy it. Ah, bull. You know, they're getting richer. We're getting poor. It's like going to the bar. You're drinking beer. You're making a man who owns the place rich. You can't go on vacation, but he can. You know, save your money. Start buying stuff. If your money's going to be weak and you won't be able to use it now. You know, it's just do what you got to do with it. But I mean, do it. People just don't realize what's coming down on them. Okay, Toby. It's ridiculous. Now I got 2 people. This is how interested, the people are about this. I don't know, Frosty.
Yeah, Bobby, you read his comments?
No, I was just thinking about, I hope Russia nukes England if the England can't. He's right. I put that on redactive about over here. So they should nuke America, nuke everybody. Maybe wake some people up. He's right. I can't argue with Bobby. I can't. He's right. If we're going to go down, let's all go down. I have nothing more to live for, seriously. I mean, I'm not going to kill myself, but I mean,
House.
you went into service yourself just to get freedom for America, and the only ones who got freedom is the elites. They got rich off of us. They used
Yeah.
us. We're like, now they're coming up with robots. Oh God, this is going to be great.
I mean, Bobby Crush, I'm back now. Do you want to, I don't know if you come up live, come up on the panel, because what you're talking about is great. I do talk about, I can see what you're saying about, and you're talking the same kind of rhetoric as me. It'd be nice if you could come up. I don't know if you're shy or anything like that. Don't be shy. This is like, we're all family on here.
Oh, you're talking about Bobby Crush? Yeah, I told him that before. He can
Yeah.
come on up. He's more than welcome to. He's more than welcome to voice his opinion up here. I don't care. You just got to watch the word Kool-Aid. That's all.
Yeah. Just Kool-Aid.
Other than that, I could care less. Come on up, Bob, if you want to.
That's so not. Listen, right? So that's so 1980s.
Yeah, I know. It just, I'm just sick of it, and I know Frosty is, and we're like, we're trying to figure ways of getting out of this, so we don't get hurt as bad. But we can only do so much with what money we have. You know what I mean? We're that rich.
If I watch television these days, I have to watch things from 20 years ago, like comedy from 20 years ago. We got a channel over here called what is it called? Gold. And it's the old things like Only Fools and Horses and Victor Meldrew and all these old stuff where people weren't afraid to offend. Comedy is about laughing at yourself or people's like misgivings, and it's not in a nasty way. It's just how we are. The British, we laugh at the face of adversity. We make jokes of things like when. Here we go. I'll give you an example. Probably not the best example, and it is like 12:15 at night for me in the morning, and I've had a few drinks. But bear with me, guys. I'm not normally a dickhead like this, but we had when Lady. I shouldn't laugh. When Diana died in that car crash, who was married to Prince Charles. People said, "What did Diana stand for?" D-I-N-A, died in a nasty accident. Because we just laugh at not being nasty or spiteful. We just laugh at the face of adversity. We make a bad situation. We got a good sense of humour. It doesn't sound very good when I say it like that, but we just like take the piss out of stuff to get us through things. We'd rather laugh than cry. If you understand what I'm saying when I say that.
Oh yeah, it's like us when someone dies over here. When he's done getting buried, we go to I don't know. I forget what they call it.
I think they call it a wake, but it's a celebration of their life. It's not. It's people look back at the memories and things like that. It's not so much what a lot of people think it is.
So we laugh about
good
times.
I mean, like Bobby's saying there, do you notice that Nigeria's? Yes, they have. And the thing is, as you well know, I got my own, I think called an IPTV server. I got over 2,000 USA channels. I got channels all around the world. And can you imagine, right, a British guy, an English guy, or an American white guy being a president of Pakistan or India or Nigeria? No fucking chance. No fucking chance. It's an imbalance. That's what I'm saying. It's an imbalance, right? The person should be in power, should be the person that represents the majority of the people and that culture that have been brought up in that country. There's something very amiss going on right now, and I'm not being nasty or racist or any way when I say that, but it's true though, isn't it? It's just there's something very amiss going on right now in the world. There's only two things that can save us. Is one, the second coming of Jesus, or aliens, because everyone's shitting themselves.
Did you see what Bobby Crush put on here? He's right. It's not happening just over there. It's happening over here. They're doing it purposely, trying to divide a country. You divide a country, it won't stand it. It'll fall.
Follow the money. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. It's a tried and tested thing. It never fails. Look at it. Look, like for you guys in America, Trump or Biden. wear a mask, don't wear a mask, have the jab, don't have the jab. Same for us in England. You know, they made it in the media to try and divide us all. To, you know, you've been in a supermarket. You know, like, what's that film back in the day? The guy from MASH was a surgeon. I can't remember his name now. And there's a film called They Live or something. And they'd be out there and they'd just point at each other going, do you remember that film? What was it called? And so that's what it's like in the supermarkets in England, probably worldwide as well. You haven't got a mask on, you're killing grandma. All about dividing us.
Yeah.
I had a lady one time was smoking a cigarette outside.
Donald Sutherland. Donald Sutherland. What was that film he was in? I'm going to have to Google it. You carry on. Carry on. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I had a cigarette outside one time, and ladies walked by making it sound, bad, I told her, I said, don't breathe until you turn blue.
Donald
I don't
Sutherland.
care. I don't care anymore. I just tell people the truth. You don't like it, tough. I'm tired of it. I might get my ass beat, or I might be getting some ass kicked. I don't know, but I'm still gonna. My freedom means more to me than anything in the world. I don't care anymore.
I'm just looking through YouTube. Not YouTube. Donald Sutherland. He
But
was in.
If America,
He's in a lot of movies. Kelly's Heroes is the one that made him, I think.
Now, this film where they kind of like aliens, or and then they'd be out there, and he was a lot. Give me a minute. What was it called? I'm sure it's called They Live. Let me just type in They Live or something. They Live. Yeah, it wasn't that either. It's like an aliens type. Yeah, it was. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Do you remember that?
Oh, the old picture. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Well, there were pods.
And do you remember, like, he'd be like, undercover, and he'd be going around and he sorted it, and then suddenly, they all pointed at him and he'd become one as well. That's what it was like when we had the Kool-Aid. And if you weren't wearing a mask and all that kind of stuff, you'd be in the supermarket and everyone's like, it's a divide. He's not wearing a mask. He's evil.
You just have to ignore it. That's all. Like I do. I just do what I want to do. You can call me every name in the book. Just don't touch me. That's all. You don't like what I do? That's tough. This is my life, not yours. You don't like it, walk away. You don't like what's on TV? Shut it up. Just like the YouTube. You don't like what I'm saying? Don't look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually you're going to find out what we're talking about, and you're going to wish to God you did listen to us to prepare yourself, to be being prepped for what's coming. But people just, they'd rather go out there. That son of a, he's no, it's all nothing but trash out there on YouTube. It is.
But people are waking up. People are waking up. It's slowly, and that's why I'm here now. Even though there's a couple of us on here, but we're spreading the word, and we're giving each other comfort by knowing that we're not going mad, we're not going mental. We are right in what we're thinking.
Well, yeah, we're right, but the problem is that they think that the Republicans, if they win the House and Senate, or just the House or Senate, that it's going to be great. America's going to be going back to where it was at. No, it's not. It's not going to happen that way. And people don't realize that. They're cahoots with each other. The Democrats and Republicans are friends. And they all know the same thing. You don't hear about this war going on right now. You don't hear a Republican over here or a politician saying anything. Nothing. We have to find out the hard way. Either it's from you telling us, or by Frosty Lee telling me, or if I have to find it by accident. It's just America. Wake up! Your government don't give a shit about you. Jeez, oh man, start fighting back. I'm telling you, hell's coming, man. It's just like no fury.
I can't understand why like at the moment you got the 101st Airborne Rangers and some other soldiers that are over on the Polish and the Ukrainian border. After the way that God bless America, but guys, like you guys, you vets,
you break it up. You're roboting.
Well, I'm roboting.
Uh-oh. Now let that be a lesson to you.
Well, I still say the best thing to do is just stay home. Stock up on food. Don't go out there but spending all your money on gas. Just stay home until they listen to us.
Yeah.
You don't have to fight them. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to use violence. You don't have to do any of that. You just stay home and you watch how quick they're licking your boot instead of wanting you to lick theirs.
Yeah. Don't buy a thing. Don't buy a damn thing. Try to stay. Oh, there he is. No, it didn't show up. Device is disconnected. What the hell's going on here? How come he can't get on? I agree with you though, Frosty. I do. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best way. Less people getting hurt. There's no point in going out there in the street. And they're
He's not.
just gonna. They're just gonna. Uh, put the police force up against you.
I think they
It's
kicked him
there.
out.
It's there to protect them. They'll bring in the National Guard if they have to. They'll bring it in the military, like you said, and do it.
I think they
Uh,
kicked him out. You know that? UK. I
no,
can't. Yeah, he's coming up here and says disconnected all the time.
maybe they're getting ready to shut you down, but you're still on, aren't you?
Yeah, so far. I don't know why he can't get up here. Go on. Oh, there he. No, device is not connected. I'm gonna have to write to him. Hold on here.
It's like my lap or my tablet.
I just wrote to him. Told him he's not. We see it, but he's not connecting at all. I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, yeah. I mean, just you're right. I mean, just don't do a damn thing. Don't buy anything. I mean, get your food, whatever you do, and that's it. Let them suffer. I mean, we made these people to be millionaires and billionaires, and now they're using it against us. These corporations that we bought stuff from. This is. Oh, there he is, right there. Hold, hold,
Hold, I check.
hold. I check. I don't know what he means.
It could be hold in check or hold. He's checking something.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. You're right.
It could be writing me a
Here he is.
check.
We got him.
Oh,
Pay your bill next time. We won't kick you out.
no. Fuck the CIA and the FBI. They want me.
Your volume's low too.
No,
Your volume,
I'm response.
God bless. Your volume's low.
My volume's low. Hold on. Let me go to the audio. My microphone's massive.
Hey, I'm gonna have to take off for a minute. I'll try to get back up, but I got to take off for a minute.
I understand, Frosty. Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
1, 2. How's that?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Oh, thank you. I don't know what happened there. I was just sat here and it just kicked me out. I can't believe I haven't had like our Homeland Security or kind of MI5 and that knock my door yet. It's going to happen.
Well, they're definitely in the United States. They already said they're checking all the internets now. I'm getting the feedback. Hold on here. Yeah, they're checking all the internets for people like us. I don't know why. We're not doing nothing. We're just saying the truth,
In Ukraine, a government-sponsored website called the Moscovats, they've got a hit list on anybody that speaks against Ukraine. And these are including 356 children. Children that are mentioned on their Facebooks or YouTube that against the Ukraine government. They are now on a hit list. Do you remember the Who?
Yeah, the singers.
Tommy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Roger Daltrey, He's on the Ukrainian hit list. Elon Musk was on the Ukrainian hit list.
You're breaking up again.
I don't know what's going on, mate.
You're roboting like crazy.
But my internet's so good. Let me just check my internet. Hang on. Speed. Let me just check my internet.
Okay.
I've got amazing internet. Oh no, it's going up and down. Hang on a second. It's still good though. You should be able to hear me okay.
I can hear you good now.
Is it? Yeah. It's bizarre. Yeah, it's just funny how these things happen when you're talking about truthful things in the world right now.
They don't want truth anymore. They don't want, because they don't want to be shown that what they're doing to people, American people.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know what's going on until someone tells them, hey, do you realize what's going on here? No, I didn't know this. They don't want that. They call it misinformation, which isn't misinformation. It's the truth. But every time you tell the truth, it's misinformation. But yet they can sit up there and tell you, white supremacy, whites are no good, all that stuff, and get away with it.
I mean, it's like the Democrats were about Republicans being white supremacists, whereas, as we said before, the Democrats were started by the KKK, and the Republicans were started by free black slaves.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make it up. You can't make it up.
And what's bad about it now, they're trying to indoctrinate the kids into communism, to believe in what the government says is true. Yeah. And it's bullshit. Yeah, just like if you were just born and they want you to become a killer, a professional killer, as you grow up, that's all you're going to know. And that's all these kids know right now because of our teachers, are teaching these kids the rogue shit, and it's not right. And I blame the unions on this, I know some of the teachers can't say nothing because they have to have a job, but still, it's not right. It's not right at all what they're doing to our children. These are our children.
This is what I was trying to say earlier on. You got all your guys, 101st Airborne and everything, being shipped over to Poland and European Union, getting ready for boots on the ground in World War III. Have they not? I mean, you older guys, you're part of the military in a way because you're vets and you still have influence. Do you not let them know how they be cannon fodder? How that when the government has finished using them to fight a war that it shouldn't be involved in, they will be sleeping homeless on the streets.
Yeah, because VA's not going to take care of them. They might get benefits if they get hurt a little bit, but that's all they're going to do. You're going to be on the streets. That's why we got this two towers, DAV, and Wounded Warriors to help veterans out to buy homes and everything else, and they're handicapped. They got handicapped access to the shelving, the showers, but the government don't do nothing. They don't do a damn thing for our veterans. Nothing. And like you said, we got these immigrants that are becoming physicians over here at VA. They're not even military. They don't even understand what I talked to them about. Like I told Witchcall 2 days ago, when I talked to my primary care physician, she says, how you been doing? I says, real good. She says, great. I said, ditto. She said, what did you say? I said, ditto. She had no idea what ditto meant. She thought I said dildo, not ditto. She's from India. This is the kind of physicians we have at a VA hospital. It's a shame.
We got the same kind of problems for our VAs in England as well. We got so many. I think it's 7,000. Look, it might not be as big as your number, but look at the size of our country. You got 330 million guys. 330 people living in America, and we got like 68 million. So there's a bit of a difference. Look at the size of our island to your country. But we got like over 7,000 ex-veterans that have fought to support this country, and those guys are living in with PTSD. They're living in like woods and street corners and shop doorways, and they get nothing. They get absolutely nothing. Yeah, you know, like I said before, you know, you get these fuckers coming over here that want to kill us, that hate our Western ways, you know, from other countries. There's over 80 Islamic countries in the world. Not one of them take any of their refugees. It's like, say, like, you know, we're a Christian country, and I hope that America is still quite a Christian country.
They're
And
trying to get rid of that too.
yeah, you know, you look after your own, don't you? So why don't these Islamic countries look after it? It's all it is. It's an invasion, and we've got so many of our soldiers in England. We're quite passionate about, you know, looking after our own, the true Brits, and it beggars belief that these poor guys have got to sleep, you know, in corners of shops. Some of them have left their lovely wives and their children because they get the night terrors, you know, the PTSD. And they're protecting their families, so they go off and sleep on their own in a shop doorway or in a woodland because they don't want to hurt no one, because they've got this PTSD still, nightmares of what they had to endure to protect our country. It's so sad. It's so sad. There's no help for them. There is help. It's slowly but surely, but the first stop should have been from our governments. You know, the guys that got them into that state in the first place. You know, Afghanistan and Iraq and Falklands and places like that. It's just, there's so much in this world that needs to be corrected.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. I'll tell you that now. They're not going to do it. They're doing this. They want that reset. They want a one world order. And people don't understand that. Oh, it's not going to happen to America or UK. Oh, no. Or France or Germany. No, they do. They do want it. And they want it bad. Because all these G-summits, they're talking all at one time.
I was about to say that. We got that coming up now, haven't we? Was it G27, I think it is?
Yeah.
And they all go there. Look at Biden. When he went to, was it Scotland a few months ago? Was it 68 vehicles? 68 vehicles. You know, you've got the Beast and all these other... 68, and they want about climate change. Come over there in their jets. Fucking, it's so wrong, mate.
Well, sure it is. Sure it is. I'll show you something here. I'm going to get a picture here. I just got today. Hold on here. Bear with me. I'm trying to make this. Shoot. I can't get in the back if I do that, so I got to leave it like this. Okay. Hold on here. You guys, you go ahead and talk for a minute. I'll break with you. I'm going to get something here.
I'll be talking to myself, and that's the first sign of madness.
Oh, no, I'll be here. I mean, I'll hear you. I'll just,
Yeah,
I
I
got
know.
concentrating on this damn thing here. There's a lot to this.
I mean,
I'm telling you.
it's down to this WF, World Economic Forum, and the World Health as well. So corrupt. You know, it's just, like I said to you before, you know, there's something very satanic about all this bollocks that's going on. It flies in the face of common sense. Something very, very wrong and amiss. But luckily for me, I mean, there is light at the end of the tunnel. My children are more clued up on some of this stuff than I am, and they tell me about their friends as well. Like when we had the elections for in USA a couple of years ago in the Magna and Donald Trump, so many kids in school were for. This is the United Kingdom. Were for Donald Trump. For Donald Trump. And we're in the UK. I'm talking about 11, 12, 15-year-old kids are behind America, and we're based in the UK.
Well, I'll tell you something about that. Oh, here it is. I got it. This is not going to be the most accurate picture in the world, but it's done by design. What happened? I mean, America was getting strong, and all of a sudden, bang, something happened. I mean, Biden was hiding in the basement. He wasn't even campaigning, and he won. He's doing the same thing right now. He's allowing Obama to campaign to the places that's going to turn red. Biden's not even around. He's going to show up one time, and that's going to be about it. But he's in the basement, not campaigning at all. Now,
he never went out. I mean, if you remember the campaign, you saw, like, on people's, you know, like, you Americans, you're lucky, you're allowed to fly your flag. In England, we fly our British England flag. It's racist. But you guys, you know, and there was so much Magna about, you know, and Trump, he was everywhere. But Biden, like you said, he is in a basement. it's so controlled, the amount of stuff he was allowed to say and do. And he wasn't out on the streets, was he? It just, the fuck, out of 330 million people did you get him? Did you, how, so you know for a fact that there's something very corrupt, that out of 330 million people, somebody like Biden gets elected. He didn't get elected at all. You only have one president, and that was Trump.
Yeah, I admit he wasn't the politician that people would want, but all the presidents I had since I've been living, and it's been since Dwight D. Eisenhower, and one more besides that below him, he was the best. He was the best. He wasn't perfect, and I'll say that right now, but he was the best. Though he was a businessman. He knew what was going on, and you can see it now. How good he was. And he was for America.
How many states are there in America?
50.
Well, apparently it's 54. Did you see that with Biden the other day? He said there's 54 states in America.
Yeah, his cognitive is not too good, you know.
And his son Bobby, whatever his name was, died in, was it Afghanistan or Iraq? I can't remember now. He's so fucked.
You know, it just, and then they keep everything quiet. They, you know, the FBI is paid off, so you can't say nothing. Here, I'm going to show you some pictures here, just a short. It's all corruption. It is. It's all money. And
I'll just make myself one more cigarette, and I've got to shoot in a minute because this. I've got to eat some. I've not eaten since yesterday or day before yesterday now, but I will be shooting off in a minute. But
okay, I haven't eaten nothing either. Seriously, I've been on the go here. People have been.
How's the carrots?
I can't find the other. Where is that at? I'm not sure this is it or not. I'll find out. That's got to be it. No. I'm not sure which one it is. I think this might be. I might get the. Okay. Anyway, you ready?
Oh yeah.
Here's what's going on in the United States at the border. This is just a little sample, and they're coming in caravans. How come it's not showing up here?
I can see a picture of a few people with the vans with the green stripes on. What's the vans with the white vans with the green stripes? What are they?
Hold on, I'll find out in a minute because I'm not seeing what you're seeing right now. I don't know what's going on here. I'm not understanding why I'm not getting what I'm getting here. I did something wrong. Hold on, I'm trying to get it right. Damn this thing. This is a... There, I should do something now.
So the picture I'm seeing is like a road with a load of vans and cars, with white vans with a green stripe on the side of them. And there's a load of...
I'll do it this way then. Hold on.
Okay.
There, okay. Where's my glasses at here? Okay, these are people that are coming from different countries, as you know. These are people that get out of jail. Okay. Now you see the amount of cars there? Those are our security guards. Right there, the border guards, the white and green.
Is this on the border of Mexico?
Yep, and United States.
Okay.
Okay. Now the white is just the way they're dressed. There's no militants or nothing about it. It's just the way they're dressed right now. People are dying to come to America. They're dying in deserts and everything else from lack of water. The cartels are getting paid for these people to get into the border. I mean, they're having a ball. Fentanyl is just absolutely amazing how much going on.
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it?
Yes, and the cartels are owning Texas slowly. Over 100 miles they own right now in Texas. And because of the rogueness of our government, they don't give a shit. And eventually what's going to happen, all these people, all these criminals, I'm not saying all of them, like 99% I would say, it's going to be nothing but chaos here. They're going to do what they want to do. And they're going to do it. Whether they break in someone's house, burn your house, rape somebody, loot, murder, they don't care. because the government, the DAs, district attorneys, are allowing them to do it. They go into jail, they come right back out. No bond, no bail, no nothing. And if you try to defend yourself, you go to jail.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and it's bullshit.
Good old George Floyd, hey? Fentanyl.
Yeah, it's just, and again, this is done purposely to destroy America. And it's not right.
And well, it's to divide you guys. You
Oh,
know,
did you see this one here? This is something else that came up.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's a couple of days ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're doing that now.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another war coming up. So this is all by design. Everything's happening purposely.
So your Congress in America are getting fed up with the amount of billions, and another 50 billion going over to Ukraine, and so it's losing the power. And so now what the Americans, Congress, Biden are doing now, trying to turn it into China, against China and Korea and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
It's just, you know, where there's peace, there's prosperity, but they don't want that, because the people that, I mean, look at Afghanistan, 80 billions worth of weaponry. You know, the Afghan, the Taliban are the third most the third most weaponized military country in the world. You know, compared to the rest, you know, America being the first. America is the biggest exporter in arms, in weapons. Whenever the Democrats are in power, there's always a war.
They pay their friends off. Yes, that's what it is. They pay their friends off. And that's exactly why they want war. They want it for two reasons. One, so they can make more money, and two, to thin out the herd. Because there's too many of us. And that's exactly why they're doing it.
And it's not just with the weapons either. It was with the farmers, with the fertilizer, with the culling of animals and the CO2 gas, CO2, carbon dioxide. Plants need carbon monoxide.
Right.
By reducing it, you're killing nature. You know, I don't know if you know much about that. But
oh yeah. I went to botany school, you know, in high school and everything else. I understand that. Again, it's all by design. They're doing it purposely. If you bow down to government, the best thing you can do is either you fight against the government, you know, because we are the majority, not the minority. But people don't want to do that. You can see it on my stream here. I only have 3 people. They don't care anymore, UK, until it happens to them. Then they're going to wake up and say, I got no food. I got no water. I got no electricity. I can't afford this. Then they're going to wake up. What do I do? Well, it's too late now. You should have done a long time ago. And this is what's going to happen.
A lot of it's population control, because, you know, Bill Gates and all that, they're all saying that there's too many people on this planet. They're trying to reduce us. And things like the Kool-Aid. Look, my sperm, I didn't have the Kool-Aid vaccination, and my sperm is worth a lot more than people that did. Why is that then?
I can believe that.
Why is that? You know, it's all about, you know, people, the average white person now, you know, with all the food, what they do with the food, all this, you know, like, it's lowered the, you know, the male sperm count, breeding. It's all about reducing our population.
Well, you know what? They should start with Bill Gates first. Bill Gates should show us how it's done.
Yeah.
Then I'll believe him. Look at Klaus.
Buddy, I'm going to have to shoot off, buddy. I know it's a bit abrupt, but I'm so hungry. And I can't drink any more alcohol, and I don't want to smoke anymore, and I've got to get up in the morning. I'm going to shoot off in a minute. So I'll WhatsApp you, or WhatsApp me when you're at a decent time. You're going to come back again, but I'm going to have to shoot off and shut down and eat some food and go to bed.
Yeah. I'm going to talk a little bit, and then I'm going to be shutting down myself. Then, you know, it's just I can only say so much to put things in people's head. I mean, they want to see, they can see the beginning of the I put an audio of that guy talking.
Yeah.
So they can hear everything what's going on. So they want to go back and listen to the audio. They can, to understand what's happening while we're talking about. Because I know a lot of people came in late. But there's going to be a war, everybody. It's coming up, and if it's World War III, you can bet one thing: you're not going to have anything. and
It's
it's
not
going to hit.
coming. It's already
Oh
here.
yeah.
It's already here.
No, not yet. I mean, it's starting. It's
Go
starting.
to the grocery stores, buy all that stuff like pastas and things that tin food and stuff like that. You're gonna need it.
Non-perishable dry beans. I mean, a lot of
Yep.
dry beans because that's a lot of
Pasta,
protein. That'll help
rice.
you out. Go on YouTube, learn how to survive heat in case something happens. I mean, try to stay as long as you can. You know what I mean? To survive. Screw the government. Don't trust your government. Don't trust anything they say free. These illegals come in, they get free cell phones. You know that? On the
Oh yeah,
taxpayer's
yeah,
dime.
yeah. That's what they get as soon as they come here. So
They're buying
and
votes. They're buying favors. That's what they're doing.
we also pay for their SIM card, the subscription, so they can keep family reunification and contact their family. Whatever.
You know, it's bad
That's
enough that, and I'll tell you something about America. What really gets me mad, they send these people over here to college. They learn a field, to major in. They come back to their country and they use it against us.
exactly. And the thing is, what people say, oh, it's good for the economy to let all these refugees come here. And they don't spend the money in that country. They send it back to their family. So the
Exactly.
money
That's right.
is staying in the country.
Exactly. And they bring their family over here sometimes when they have enough money.
Oh, and then some, and then some. Well, anyway, listen, guys, I'm going to get going. Good night to anyone who's still in the chat. Right, thank you very much for letting me up.
More and more. Glad to hear from you. Glad to hear from you.
And vice versa. It's good to be at a decent time. But I've got to shoot, and I'll be in touch on WhatsApp.
Okay, I got you. I'll catch you in a short
Take care, guys. Look after yourself, mate. God bless America and the world and the UK. 3, 2, 1. I'm gone.
Guy, you wouldn't believe it. This guy here, he's electronic genius. He fixes just about everything from blender machines to securities to pinball machines to God bless it. You just name it, he fixes it. He's a whiz. He's fantastic on the computer. I'll tell you that. He really is. But everybody, yeah, you decide what you want to do. I would start prepping as much as you can. Learn what's going on out there. Don't listen to this freaking TV said. It's all a bunch of bull. And start looking through YouTube to get an idea what you want to check and pursue it like I do. I'm lucky I have other people help me out. We correlate, we talk together, and we send it out here. Again, I'm not out here to be a hero. I'm out here to help American people. I believe in America, and I believe in a lot of good American people, but you're not going to have it anymore. I didn't go into service for this shit. I came out here for my grandchildren, your grandchildren, excuse me, grandchildren to be free, to run when they want to, not to be molested, not to be ponned, not to have candy and find out you got fentanyl in it, not to be woke, telling me that you're a boy, that you're a girl. It's bullshit. It really is. And I'm sorry, just the way I am. I'm old school. And I'm telling you what, the old school worked. I don't know why they're trying to fix it, but they are. Other than that, people, I do appreciate you coming up here. God bless you all. Please start prepping. Please. Whatever you can do, do. And go on YouTube and learn how to do things. They got ways of cooking. Believe it or not, out of a pop can. Get a burner going to cook your food. There's a way of you can heat your home if you want to save gas, natural gas, because it's coming up. The bills are going to start piling up big. So just do what you can do, please. And if you can, tell people to come on over here just to look at my videos. But do me a favor, please, and I'll ask again: do not subscribe. Do not give me no thumbs up. I want is listeners. That's all I want. I don't want to be big here. I really don't. I don't care for nothing for it. I'm out here to try to help you out as much as I can. Everybody, God bless you. Believe me, God bless you. There's a God and there's a Jesus. Even though sometimes I don't practice the way I should sometimes, but there is one. So everybody, be good, be kosher, and I'll be back soon. See you in a while. Race for Vets are out. And like I always say, you always come back now, yeah.